Glorious and free, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Hear, hear. Que l'on ouvre les portes. Statements by members. The Honourable Member for Nanaimo, Ladysmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Orange Shirt Day, when we honor and remember residential school survivors and bear witness to their healing journey. It's important to recognize the destructive harm of Canadian governments and policies that sought to destroy the cultures, languages, and way of life of Indigenous people. True reconciliation requires action. Mr. Speaker, sockeye salmon are not just an iconic species on the west coast of Canada. They are sustenance for coastal First Nations and a key part of their culture and traditions. True reconciliation demands that we protect wild salmon, but this year salmon stocks have crashed to an all-time low. Today is also the deadline to implement Recommendation 19 from the Cohen Report. Despite overwhelming evidence that net pen salmon farming poses a risk to migrating wild salmon, the government has not shut down these fish farms. Mr. Speaker, it's time for the government to take action and protect wild salmon in BC. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Mount Royal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Monday was Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. As the Jewish New Year begins, there has been an alarming increase in anti-Semitic incidents across the globe, with most originating online. We need to find better ways to combat online hate. As such, we have launched the Interparliamentary Task Force to Combat Online Anti-Semitism. The Honourable Member for Charleswood St. James, Assiniboia Headingley, and I have joined a bipartisan group of members of the national legislatures of Australia, Israel, the United Kingdom, and the United States to help confront anti-Semitism online. The task force has the following goals: holding social media platforms accountable, adoption and publication of transparent policies related to hate speech, raising awareness about anti-Semitism on social media platforms, underscoring that the fight against anti-Semitism and other forms of hate is a nonpartisan consensus in Canada and other democratic countries. As we move forward with our work, I look forward to collaborating with members of the House across party lines on this incredibly important issue.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Chemins, Lévis. Mr. Speaker, this pandemic won't prevent the Chamber of Commerce of Lévis from underscoring the remarkable work of companies in my region. Over 1,000 people participated in the 2020 Virtual Gala Awards broadcast from the group Satire Studios. Thanks to Cynic's Concept, congratulations to them for their Desjardins Award, and to MTI Canada and Groupe Anjou. Congrats to École Marley Enviro Confort, Clean International, Nuntech Électronique, Village Aventura, Métal Bernard, Paricar, Sport Experts, and to Mr. Bubble, finalist for the People's Choice Award. And a shout out to the talented choreographer and entrepreneur Nicolas Béguin, who won the Business Personality Award for his global hit, Hit the Floor. Mr. Speaker, the Chamber of Commerce reminds us that our business owners and businesses are at the heart of our rich community, and this is why we'd like to say to all of them, thank you.
The Honourable Member for Surrey Newton.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to recognize the amazing work of our Global Village Charitable Foundation, a women-led volunteer organization serving Surrey for the past 7 years. They stepped up once again to help the community when the COVID-19 pandemic engulfed the entire world. Since April, dedicated volunteers have produced over 17,000 handmade masks for children and adults, which were provided to nonprofits, workplaces deemed essential, and the general public. At a time when we were experiencing shortage of personal protective equipment, these amazing women answered the call and contributed to our efforts to flatten the curve. I want to recognize the leadership of Mira Gill and thank her and her wonderful team for all their efforts.
The Honourable Member for Beloy-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, Joyce Echaquan died at the hospital. She was a victim of improper treatment and of racism. I want to be clear. Without such racism, she may still be alive. The Bloc would like to offer its sincere condolences to the family, to the community of Manawan, and to her nation. Ms. Echaquan went to the hospital to receive help, and she received nothing but contempt. This is not a jurisdictional issue. There's nothing political here. I am indignant with this situation. It's a mirror of all of us, and we should all be ashamed. We have to take act of this terrible reality. When a nurse showed her contempt, and she took her hate out against this Indigenous patient. It's under our collective responsibility that this took place. Enough insincerity and symbolic speech. We have to have an equal relationship with this nation, and we must respect who they are. First and foremost, we need justice for Joyce. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Brossard-Saint-Lambert. Mr. Speaker, the pandemic that has hit us since the beginning of the year has demanded superhuman efforts of all of us. Today, I'd like to thank all the organizations and volunteers in Brossard-Saint-Lambert for helping those most affected by the pandemic. First, I'd like to thank the New Generation Mission at the Islamic Community Center, to the Maison des Aulniers, to the Sikh community and from the South Shore and the International Maison de la Rive Sud. They all continue to offer services and resources in person and remotely. Despite operational challenges and greater demand for assistance, these organizations rose to the occasion and have adapted to this new reality. And finally, a big thank you to all those committed to taking health measures seriously.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Calgary, Rocky Ridge.
Mr. Speaker, small businesses have been devastated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many were already struggling under the weight of a sluggish economy, new and higher taxes, and increasing costs even before the pandemic. Now, some have been forced to close their doors for good, while others that closed temporarily last spring have reopened with higher costs and fewer customers. The owners, employees, and customers of small businesses are our friends and neighbors. Their shops, restaurants, and personal, professional, and contractor services are the lifeblood of our communities and the backbone of the national economy. Sadly, many small businesses have been forced to lay off employees while the owners exhaust their life savings and plunge into debt amid uncertain futures. Many small businesses have been left behind by this federal government by programs that were poorly designed and that the government has failed to fix. Conservatives stand with our small businesses. It's time the government did too.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Member for West Vancouver, Sunshine Coast, Sea to Sky Country.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the pandemic first reached our shores, the West Vancouver Seniors Activity Centre, with the help of dedicated volunteers, made over 6,600 calls to check in on the most vulnerable in the community. This COVID-prompted outreach revealed that in this community, like many other affluent communities, poverty and food insecurity is lying just below the surface. With generous support from our government's Emergency Community Support Fund and the West Vancouver Foundation, the West Van Seniors Activity Centre has responded by creating a program to deliver 850 meals each week to vulnerable seniors since April 2nd. Local youth have also got involved by creating colorful compassion cards to include with these meals, allowing this program to nourish both the body and spirit. This program has been a life-changing moment for many seniors, bringing some to tears with how the community cares for them. And this is just one example of the many important initiatives that our community foundations and charities are supporting and that nonprofits are undertaking when it is needed more than ever.
Thank you for the work that you do to build our community.
The honourable member for Malpeque.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to pay tribute to Mr. Peter Dowling of Howe Island, Ontario, who recently passed away. Peter was a central figure in the National Farmers Union for nearly his entire life. His parents, John and Joyce, were founding members of the organization, and it was noted that Peter was raised in the NFU. Peter was a tireless advocate for local food, sustainable agriculture, and small family farms. He was involved in many of the important agricultural policy battles of the day, including supporting supply management, advocating for farmers on free trade issues, opposing the introduction of RBGH hormone into our dairy system, leading the Save Our Prison Farms efforts, where he was among those who took cattle to Parliament Hill to protest the closure of prison farms in Kingston. With his wife Diane, they ran Double J Farms, now an organic farm, where he provided a ready ear for young farmers offering advice and mentorship. Our condolences to Diane and the Dowling family.
The honourable member for Carlton Trail, Eagle Creek.
Mr. Speaker, the people in my riding are deeply concerned. They are concerned for their future. Will they be able to keep their businesses afloat or keep working? For those that aren't, will they be able to find a job or continue to support their families? Will their children have a chance at a normal life to live in a prosperous nation? Or will they be burdened by the overwhelming debt of past generations? The Prime Minister had an opportunity to address these concerns. Instead, the speech from the throne was full of recycled promises and no real plan. A future with this government in power is looking bleaker every day. Every day I hear from constituents telling me that they don't have confidence in this Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I echo their concerns and I echo their verdict. We have no confidence in this Prime Minister.
The honourable member for Sackville, Preston, Chiswick Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This summer I've travelled across my riding of Sackville, Preston, Chesapeake to visit local businesses and local organisations to hear their story of how they got through COVID-19. At almost every stop I heard stories of how our community of Sackville, Preston, Chesapeake championed the buy local mentality and rallied around businesses to help them get through the pandemic. Businesses like Kaiser Subs in Lower Sackville have adjusted to curbside pickup and have been busy since. The Eastern Passage, Jamie, the owner of Boondocks Restaurant, told me how impressed he was with our government's support programs for businesses. The extra 10,000 jobs, Canada Summer Jobs, helped many organizations in my riding, like the local organization Hope for Wildlife in Lawrencetown, or the Lake and Side Recreation Society in Porter's Lake. These are just a few of the positive stories of our activities, businesses and local activities and organizations in our riding. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Lévis-Lotbinière. Mr. Speaker, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup with a player from Lévis-Lotbinière. It is with great pride that I congratulate the talented Yanni Gourde. You're a role model for us all, a role model of perseverance, hard work, and talent. It proves that we should all follow our dreams and never give up. Mr. Speaker, today we can all realize how proud his family and friends are, and we are encouraging him. We've all been behind him since the beginning of his career in Lotbinière. His determination has inspired a new generation of hockey players, and it shows that excellency always has its place in our society. A new page in history has been turned for Yannick Gourde. And imagine what comes next. I'm convinced he'll have a promising future, and as always, he will be a role model for courage and passion for our region and the nation he represents. Go, Yannick, go!
The honourable member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Mr. Speaker, nearly 800,000 Canadians have deferred their mortgages over the past 6 months, and this week the mortgage deferral window comes to a close, bringing many people close to the edge of a cliff. With businesses shutting down and workers being laid off, and going back to March, many people deferred their mortgages due to a lot of uncertainty. Now, with concerns in the second wave of COVID-19 and businesses and workplaces potentially facing closures again, the government has done very little to tackle this uncertainty. Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing from families in the Okanagan who are very concerned about making ends meet due to lost income and with mortgage payments coming due, giving extra stress to their families. I was disappointed to see that the speech from the throne did not even mention mortgage deferrals as an issue which is affecting so many people. British Columbia has some of the highest costs for home ownership in the country, and this just adds to the financial impact to everyday families. The government must give families and workers certainty and hope and outline clear paths to relaunch our economy.
The honourable member for Victoria.
Mr. Speaker, today I want to acknowledge the important work of the Victoria Sexual Assault Centre. I've spoken before about how the clinic provides confidential, trans-inclusive, and culturally sensitive clinical space. Recent survivors can access forensic exams, crisis support, and options for reporting to police. But the clinic needs stable funding. I also want to highlight one of the vital programs that the centre supports, the Indigenous Response Network. It's made up of local First Nations, friendship centres, Indigenous sex workers, and Two-Spirit folks. Indigenous people experience higher rates of gender-based violence, but they also experience higher rates of discrimination when accessing healthcare systems and the justice system. This network is so important in beginning the work of addressing the barriers that Indigenous people face, beginning to address the trauma of gender-based violence, but also the intergenerational trauma that so many Indigenous people experience. Also, today is Orange Shirt Day. And I want to recognize the work of Eddie Charlie and Kristen Spray in Victoria and thank everyone across Canada wearing orange today to honor the survivors of residential schools.
The Honourable Member for Joliette. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with great sadness that I offer my condolences to the family of Ms. Joyce Echaquan and to the entire Manawan community. My thoughts in particular go to her 7 children who have just lost their mother of 37 years. I'm full of sadness but of rage as well. The odious and unacceptable treatment that she received. She passed away in quite troubling circumstances. We need a true independent investigation with real answers. And we heard quite troubling testimony from the Vian Commission, and it doesn't stop here. From nation to nation, things have to change. Justice has to be served, and the system has to change. This must never happen again. And my thoughts go out to Miss Echaquan's 7 children. I'm in mourning. Justice for Joyce.
Desnate, Mississippi, Churchill River.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize National Orange Shirt Day. In 2008, Prime Minister Harper apologized on behalf of the Canadian government for the residential school system and created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, both important steps in the reconciliation relationship. In 2013, Phyllis Webstad provided the inspiration for this day by recounting her impactful story as a 6-year-old who had her brand new orange shirt taken away on her arrival at a residential school, never to be returned. The importance of this day can be seen in Desnate, Mississippi, Churchill River, and across the rest of Canada, where students of all ages will learn of the historic injustice of the residential school system. These discussions, questions, and activities that students are participating in will continue into the homes and around the supper tables of families across the nation, providing an opportunity for our younger generation to take a leadership role in reconciliation. Mr. Speaker, I hope all members will join me in recognizing that every child matters.
The honourable member for Newmarket, Aurora.
Mr. Speaker, today, September 30th, is recognized as Orange Shirt Day.
On this day, we encourage all Canadians to wear orange to raise awareness of the legacy of residential schools and to honor the thousands of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis survivors. As you know, there is no relationship more important to us than the one with Indigenous peoples. And that is why our government introduced a bill to establish a National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on September the 30th. I would like to highlight that the NDP has seconded the introduction of this bill and recognize the work of Georgina Jolibois, former Member of Parliament for Desnete, Mississippi, Churchill River in this file in the previous Parliament. This bill will implement the 80th call to action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's report. Mr. Speaker, public commemoration of the tragic and painful history and the legacy of residential schools is vital in the path towards reconciliation.
Oral questions. Question orale. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
To start by thanking all colleagues and indeed thousands of Canadians for their warm wishes and prayers to my wife Rebecca and I as we recovered from COVID-19. Thank you, Canada. You can clap for that. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's record when it comes to reconciliation is the same as his record in general. All talk and no action. Big announcements, zero follow-through. Indigenous communities need the Prime Minister to roll up his sleeves and get down to work. Can the Prime Minister advise this House why the government has not yet delivered its measurable goals called for in the 19th call to action as part of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report?
Prime Minister.
We will have many opportunities for questions and answers, but I too want to begin by wishing the Leader of the Opposition welcome back to this House after the health scare he had, but seeing him in good health, seeing the Leader of the Bloc Québécois back in the House as well is a good thing. We all want good health for everyone. I look forward to exchanging, particularly on the topic of reconciliation. I think there's an awful lot we need to do across party lines on that, whether it's passing UNDRIP legislation, whether it's concretely delivering for Indigenous communities across the country. And I'm very encouraged to see the Conservatives lead off with a very important question.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I'll be very encouraged with an eventual answer. Monsieur le Président, le bilan.
Mr. Speaker, this government's record when it comes to reconciliation is the same as all the rest. Great promises, like always, but no action. Indigenous communities need the Prime Minister to start to work. Why no action on the recommendations with regard to health in the from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, as I said, I'm very encouraged to see the Conservatives take interest in our relationship with the Indigenous communities and peoples. We have been working on this for the past 5 years. We are delivering by eliminating long-term boil advisories. We are delivering on new schools, new healthcare centers. We are delivering on new treaties and agreements. And when it comes to health, we have committed to putting forward legislation for Indigenous health care, and we hope we'll be able to work with the Conservative Party on that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Leader of the Official Opposition.
The United States has been proving rapid testing for months. The European Union has been approving them since spring. Our European trade agreement actually requires us to deem the processes for medical investigation to be equivalent to the EU. But Germany, Italy, and the UK have been having tests for months while Canadians wait hours in line. When are Canadians finally going to receive rapid testing?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, from the very beginning of this crisis, we've worked with provinces and territories to enhance testing capacity. We've given more funds and resources to Health Canada to approve the new technologies coming on the market. Indeed, yesterday, Minister of Public Services and Procurement and the Minister of Health announced the purchase of 7.9 million rapid point-of-care tests from Abbott Rapid Diagnostics, pending Health Canada approval. Well, this afternoon, Health Canada authorized that Abbott ID. We can now be deployed to provinces and territories with deliveries coming in the coming weeks, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I guess, Mr. Speaker, where there's a will, there actually is a way. CETA is Canadian law, and it has been for 3 years, Mr. Speaker. We've recognized Italian, German, and British health product regulators as equivalent to Health Canada for 3 years. But thanks to the government, all of these countries and their citizens get access to rapid testing, and we do not. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister liked to say Canada is back. Why is he sending Canadians to the back of the line by not adhering to the CETA provisions to accept European rapid testing?
Good question.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, from the very beginning, we've worked with all provincial authorities, all Health Canada experts, to ensure that the products we're approving here in Canada are done quickly, but are also safe for Canadians. We saw examples in the spring of approvals given that then had to be rescinded. We need to make sure that every step of the way we're putting the health of Canadians at the forefront. We will continue to work with partners around the world as we deliver the products and the technologies for Canadians that they need. Every step of the way, we promise to have Canadians back. We will continue to have Canadians back.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, on May 22nd, the Prime Minister said that rapid tests were necessary in order to keep businesses and schools open during a second wave. And now it's September 30th, and rapid tests are not yet available. Businesses need to close in Montreal. When will the Prime Minister take action to have rapid tests available for all Canadians? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm very pleased to confirm that yesterday the Minister of Health and Public Services announced 7.9 million rapid tests purchased to come to Canada. Once approved by Health Canada, these tests are being approved today by Health Canada, and we will be able to share these tests with Canadians in the coming weeks. At each stage, we have respected science, listened to experts, and put politics aside. We will do everything necessary to protect Canadians. The Honourable Member for Beloeil-Chambly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I may congratulate the new leader of the official opposition, I wish you to be as good for Canada as the Bloc is for Quebec. A question for the Prime Minister. I've lost, I'm out of the habit with the interpretation being later. It's not what we know how to do, but what we can do and what we can do well. But we're also talking about jurisdiction. Healthcare is a provincial jurisdiction. Is the Prime Minister aware that healthcare is a provincial and Quebec jurisdiction? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, at each stage in this pandemic, we have worked with the provinces and territories. We have done this to protect Canadians across the country. We have been there with healthcare transfers starting in the beginning of the pandemic of $500 million to help provinces. We were there for $19 billion to help Safe Restart, which includes healthcare transfers. We were there to help in provincial jurisdictions so that people can go back to school. We will always be there in partnership to help the provinces to protect Canadians from one coast to coast to coast. The Honourable Member for Beloeil-Chambly. And that question that we're asking the Prime Minister is one thing, and then he answers with a figure. Can the Prime Minister tell us how many doctors on the federal government's payroll are directly treating Canadians and Quebecers? How many nurses on the federal payroll are directly treating Canadians and Quebecers? How many hospitals in federal jurisdiction are directly dealing with Canadians and Quebecers, just for fun. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we respect the provincial jurisdiction when it comes to healthcare, but there are issues, healthcare issues, that are federal. That is, providing medical services to Indigenous peoples and the Canadian forces. And we have expertise when it comes to delivering for the soldiers. We have been able to put our Canadian forces to work, have been able to put them to work in Quebec. We have provided expertise, and we have been able to offer this to Quebecers and to Canadians in order to help throughout the crisis. And that is what we're doing. We're helping each other as Canadians. The Honourable Member for Burnaby South. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With her last breath, Joyce Ekwes-Chewan asked for help as she was lying in a hospital bed dying. This was an Indigenous woman who died at the hospital while the hospital staff ridiculed her. I am very sorry, Joyce. The last moments of your life should not have ended like this. Systemic racism is depriving people of dignity. It's time to pass from empty promises. Will the Prime Minister commit to taking real action to deal with systemic racism? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, all Canadians were shocked to see that video showing the last moments of Joyce's life. My condolences to her family and friends in the community. It was the worst form of racism when she needed the most help. This is an example, yet another example of systemic racism. It is quite simply unacceptable in Canada. A rapid investigation is essential to ensure if it was more than just simple racist words. We urge Quebec to take quick action, and we will do our utmost to eliminate racism where it exists and to support people who are affected.
South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Throughout the pandemic, we've heard the very sound public health advice that we need to wash our hands. And in a second wave, this is all the more important. But for so many Indigenous communities, they don't have access to clean drinking water. They simply can't drink that water. They can't even use that water to wash their hands. Now, in the throne speech, the Liberal government mentions nothing about their 2021 deadline. There is no excuse in the time that we are, with the technology that we are, that there's no community, that every community in our country doesn't have access to clean drinking water. So will the Prime Minister commit to basic human rights and ensure that every Indigenous community in Canada has clean drinking water?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, not only do I make that commitment today, we made that commitment 5 years ago, and we acted on it. Over the past 5 years, we have eliminated over 80 long-term boil water advisories that had gone decades without having been affected, and we continue to work very hard. We recognize the May 2021 deadline is fast approaching. There have been slowdowns because of COVID, but because of that, we are redoubling our efforts to try and ensure that all Canadians have access to safe drinking water, particularly in our First Nations communities.
The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi Fjord, Mr. Speaker. The government has a two-tiered system. They did this with C4 to offer a uniform approach, and Canadians and businesses are set aside. When it comes to healthcare transfers at present, we see what's happening. Quebecers want turbo, not neutral. We want unconditional transfers. What is the government waiting for to take action? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, for a number of months now, we have been taking action. We immediately delivered $500 million in transfers as soon as the healthcare crisis started in March, and then we delivered $19 billion to the provinces for safe restart, another $2 billion for children to go back to school safely, and we are continuing to work with the premiers of the provinces. We have committed to sitting down with them to talk about healthcare transfers because we recognize that there are flaws in the system that have been exposed by this crisis. The Honourable Member for Shakito-Millefjord. Mr. Speaker, the government keeps telling us when it comes to healthcare transfers the same things as it does for the emergency aid for businesses and other things. We're going to, but when are we going to? What is the Prime Minister waiting for to take action in cooperation instead of confrontation with the provinces? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, perhaps my honourable colleague did not speak to small businesses, but I can tell him that this emergency fund for small businesses delivered more than $30 billion across the country, and 757,000 companies got assistance to help with their costs during the pandemic. We will continue to be there with the wage subsidy, with a version of CERB that will be delivered through EI. We will continue to be there to support small businesses, workers, families throughout the pandemic and in the coming months, Mr. Speaker.
Calgary, Nose Hill.
Right now, Mr. Speaker, nobody in Canada, not a single person, has access to rapid testing, and that's a failure of this government. And today, the Prime Minister did not answer the Leader of the Opposition's question, which is a question that everyone is asking, which is when are we going to have access to this? When is it going to be deployed? When is it going to be in a long-term care facility or in a school? So to the mom who this morning had her child present with a runny nose and a sore throat and doesn't know what to do because she can't stand in line for a test, when is that test going to be available to Canadians?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member from Nose Hill should perhaps check with her Ontario colleagues, because they apparently got access to some private secret rapid test that Health Canada hadn't approved just months ago. Maybe she can find out why they did that particular test and what it was useful for. What I can say, and what I did say to the Leader of the Opposition, was that in the coming weeks, the Abbott ID Now rapid test will be deployed to help Canadians across the country with rapid testing, because we signed a deal with them for 7.9 million tests just yesterday.
Member for Calgary, Nose Hill.
The reality is that the Prime Minister of Canada is responsible for making testing for COVID an elitist principle in Canada. That's the reality right now. People in Canada, somebody who wants to go visit their father with Alzheimer's in a long-term care facility has to go stand in line for 8 hours and then isolate for days to get their test results before they can take that compassionate step. And it's because of his failures. Yep. Why won't he answer the question? He can't answer the question. He hasn't done his job. When will these tests be in the hands of Canadians to use?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
For the third time, Mr. Speaker, the Abbott ID Now test will be out in the coming weeks across the country. Health Canada has delivered on approvals in a rapid way, because that's what Canadians expect. But every step of the way, we have put science first. We've respected our scientists, we've listened to them, and we have made sure that we are protecting Canadians. And on the issue of helping the vulnerable, quite frankly, the Conservatives who keep telling everyone that we should have helped businesses first and not the most vulnerable Canadians are not anyone to give lessons on this one.
I understand the honourable members are concerned about social distancing, but shouting across is not the way to do that. So if they want to talk to someone, please go within 6 feet and talk to them at a level that would be respectable within the House.
The honourable member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, yesterday when we learned that the government had reserved 7.9 million tests, the Prime Minister responded to journalists that he couldn't accelerate it, that policy could not be changed to accelerate the process, but 24 hours later we have the answer that it's been approved. Now we're talking about when. We're talking about logistics, not science. When will the provinces, families have the test? It's a simple question. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, yesterday we signed an agreement with Abbott for 7.9 million tests once the tests are approved by Health Canada. And this approval that Health Canada has been working on for weeks arrived today. So we know that we will begin to deliver these tests during the month of October in the coming weeks. This is something that will help Canadians, and since the beginning, we have been there to help Canadians, to support them when it comes to their health care, but also financially, and we will continue to do so in partnership with the provinces and territories. The member for Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, we're starting to get some answers now. We're in October. Now we're getting the answer. It's coming in October. Could we have more specifics? Tomorrow afternoon, will somebody from the government be able to provide a specific action plan? It's very long to get a result from the other types of tests. Could we have a specific plan from the government that will tell us in 1 week, in 2 days, in 3 days, you'll be able to get these tests? I'd like to have a specific answer, yes or no. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to step back for a minute. Since the beginning, we have worked to support the provinces and territories to help them in the work that they were doing to test and do contact tracing, to get PPE, personal protective equipment, and we will continue to do so. We've worked with the provinces to provide personal protective equipment and training for technicians. We will continue to work with the provinces. And in many parts of the country, things are going well. In other parts of the country, there are bigger challenges, and that is why we are here. We are here to help, and we will continue to do so. The Honourable Member for Beloeil-Chambly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This time it's a good. I would say that there are major concerns with regard to the tests. I remember when the Conservative leader needed a test, and he had a test that came from Quebec. And now we're being told to respect Quebec and provincial jurisdiction, and I have the impression that he didn't even read the throne speech or write it. Is there a way to help the Quebec, the provinces, and seniors? There is. It's to unconditionally transfer money for healthcare to Quebec and the provinces and without interference. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we send $40 billion to the provinces every year for the healthcare system, and as soon as the pandemic began, we added more money still to help them. But the assistance that Quebec needed in the long-term care homes, for example, wasn't just more money. It was help from our soldiers and the Canadian Red Cross, and we were there to do that, and we will continue to be there in partnership in order to meet the needs of Quebecers, to meet the needs of people across the country. The federal government is here to help, and we will always be there to help, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, 81% of Quebecers want the government to increase healthcare transfers. In Canada, we're talking about 73%. The National Assembly of Quebec has unanimously requested this. That's 100%, Mr. Speaker. All prime ministers in all premiers in all provinces want healthcare transfers to be increased. So everybody in Canada and Quebec want more money to beat COVID. There has been 25 years of reduced investments in healthcare. It's not just the Liberals, it's also the Conservatives. What is more important, Mr. Speaker, than to take care of people who are sick? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, as I've said from the beginning, we will be there to support Canadians across the country. I spoke with Premier Legault and Ford a few evenings ago, and in cooperation with the provinces and territories, we have put in place an agreement on the Safe Restart worth $19 billion to restart the economy safely and support capacity in our healthcare system. This agreement is allowed to the $40 billion that we send to the provinces and territories for healthcare every year. We continue our cooperation with the provinces and territories in order to help Canadians to fight against COVID-19 and to maintain the strength of our healthcare system.
Halton Hills.
Mr. Speaker, I commend the government for reimposing sanctions on Belarus, sanctions which the previous Conservative government put in place in 2006, sanctions which we've been seeking for some time, sanctions which the government lifted in 2017. Now, China is violating human rights and international treaties like the Geneva Convention in its treatment of Canadians Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, the Uyghurs, and the people of Hong Kong. Will the government now impose sanctions on those responsible in China and in Hong Kong?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, first in regards to Belarus, we will not be silent as the government of Belarus continues to commit systematic human rights violations. That's why, in coordination with the UK and in support of the people of Belarus, we're imposing sanctions against the government of Belarus officials, including Alexander Lukashenko. In regards to China, we continue to stand up for the interests and rights of Canadians. We continue to demand the safe return of the 2 Canadians arbitrarily detained by China for political purposes. We continue to raise the plight of the Uyghurs. We continue to express concern over Hong Kong and the 300,000 Canadians there. We will continue to work with the international community on standing up strongly.
Member for Wellington, Halton Hills.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that answer shows the government's complete incoherence on China. In July, the foreign minister tells us he's looking at sanctions on Chinese officials. The next day, the government tells Reuters that that's off the table. 2 weeks ago, the foreign minister tells the Globe he's abandoning free trade with China. The same day, Ambassador Barton says that we should expand trade and do more in China. When will the government get its story straight and get serious? When will it start defending Canadian interests and place sanctions on those responsible in China and Hong Kong?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, every step of the way this government has stood up to defend Canadian interests, whether it was canola farmers, whether it was our beef and pork producers, whether it is standing up for the 2 Michaels who've been arbitrarily detained. We will continue to work with the international community on issues around Hong Kong, issues around the Uyghurs, and continue to express our deep concern with the direction that China is taking in its international diplomacy and in its international actions. We need to stand united as a world. We will do exactly that, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Richmond, Arthabaska. Mr. Speaker, Quebec and Canada's economy is going through extremely difficult times. Our small and medium-sized businesses are trying to find workers. Farms are trying to save their crops. And people are waiting for their benefits. The Prime Minister meets at the meantime with Chinese investors to try to accommodate them, and behind closed doors. Well, our farmers and our small businesses are still waiting for the promised compensation. Why is the Prime Minister meeting with the Chinese investors? Right Honourable Prime Minister. Since the beginning, we have been there for Quebecers and Canadians, small businesses, vulnerable individuals and families, and we will continue to do so. We were there with the CERB for 8.8 million Canadians who benefited from it, from the wage subsidy, which helped with 3.5 million jobs for more than 350,000 companies and $40 billion in support. The Canadian Emergency Benefit for Students, the Canadian Emergency Account, which represents more than $30 billion in subsidy in support, the commercial rent programs, which helped more than 120,000 companies. We continue to be there for Canadians.
Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
Mr. Speaker, dairy farmers are being left behind by these Liberals. Farmers continue to wait for the Liberals to deliver on compensation for losses from trade deals, while senior Liberals, including top advisors in the PMO, are busy bending over backwards for China-owned food processors operating in Canada. In fact, the former government official who opened the door to China-owned firms is now sitting on the board of one. Smells a bit sour to me. When will this government stop catering to these well-connected insiders and start putting Canadian farm families first?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
On the contrary, Mr. Speaker, even as we move forward to sign historic trade deals around the world with Europe, restoring NAFTA and protecting NAFTA, and moving forward with the CPTPP in Asia, we have compensated farmers for those first trade deals, and will continue to move forward and support the incredibly hardworking agricultural producers across our country. We know how important it is that they continue to be able to be supported, and we will be there as we've promised to be.
The Honourable Member for North Island, Powell River.
The Liberals
announced their so-called national housing strategy. They promised that soon after would be a strategy that would finally address the horrific housing conditions of Indigenous communities across this country. Today we are all wearing orange shirts to respect and honor the residential school survivors of our country. And here we stand in a House where the Liberals make mistakes again and again, promises again and again, and nothing ever changes. The member from Nunavut talked about houses that were described as mold boxes. Imagine during these times or any times living in a mold box. Housing is a basic human right. When is this government going to honor Indigenous communities and grant them that?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, from the beginning, we have demonstrated that we understand how important it is to work in partnership with Indigenous communities and close the gaps that existed. We closed the gap on education funding. We've made serious investments in infrastructure. We made serious investments in health and in ending boil water advisories. But of course, there's much more to do. But it is, quite frankly, irresponsible of the NDP to suggest that nothing has been done over the past 5 years, because the partnership that has been established and the leadership shown by Indigenous communities across this country on making things better is not to be ignored, even by the NDP.
The honourable member for Timmins, James Bay.
Today is Orange Shirt Day, and the Anishinaabe Education Institute is selling T-shirts to raise money for the defense of the St. Anne's residential school survivors. Now, this Prime Minister doesn't need to sell T-shirts because his government has spent millions of taxpayers' dollars trying to deny them justice. Government lawyers have suppressed evidence. They've ignored court orders. They've used every possible legal tactic to deny justice and wear down the survivors. But the St. Anne's survivors are not being intimidated. It's time to do justice. When will this Prime Minister end his government's legal vendetta against the St. Anne's survivors?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, over the past 5 years, we have come to agreements worth billions of dollars with Indigenous communities, with victims of terrible moments in Canada's past, and we will continue to work to resolve both the terrible events of the past, support people today, and build a brighter future. That is a commitment we made, and that is a commitment we are holding in partnership as we move forward on this path of reconciliation. We have much more to do, and we will continue to do it in partnership, in respect, because that's what we remember today, and that's what we celebrate every day we move forward in partnership.
The honourable member for Orleans. Mr. Speaker.
A lot of discussion lately about COVID-19 vaccines and when they might become available. I think all Canadians are waiting anxiously to find out when the first vaccine will be available for public use. We know that there are many risk factors associated with vaccine and that we need to ensure that we're not providing a vaccine that hasn't been fully tested. Can the Prime Minister please tell us what the government is doing to ensure that Canadians have access to a viable vaccine when it is ready?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I'd like to begin by thanking the member for Orleans for her question and for her tremendous hard work. We've been talking to many companies to ensure we can deliver vaccines to Canadians as quickly as possible. It is one of our central priorities. We've now secured access to a guaranteed minimum of 174 million doses and up to 282 million doses of other potential vaccines. Canada now has one of the very best portfolios for potential vaccines in the world to make sure that Canadians can be first in line as a vaccine is found.
The honourable member for Carleton.
Lorsque les Canadiens, when Canadians work to survive this COVID-19 crisis, the Prime Minister's main concern was to send a $500 million check to a group that had paid his family $500,000. In the midst of this scandal, the Prime Minister blacked out hundreds of pages of documentation. Now we're looking for those documents without redactions. Will the Prime Minister allow Canadians to see every word in those documents now? Yes or no? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives continue to take aim at partisan issues and while they're looking for things that aren't there to be found, we're going to remain focused on the pandemic. We're going to continue delivering for Canadian families, for workers who've lost their jobs. We're going to continue to deliver the goods for small businesses. That's what we're focusing on. The Conservatives can do whatever they like, but we are going to remain focused on what's happening with Canadians and their health. The honourable member for Carleton.
He was seeking to deliver for was his own. They're the ones that received $500,000 from this group, and then he turned around and personally intervened to give $500 million to the group that had paid his family off. And as for getting the work of Canadians done, he's the one that shut this place down for 6 weeks to make sure nobody could get at the truth. Simple question. This is a yes or no. There are hundreds of pages blacked out. Will he remove that ink and let Canadians read every single word? Yes or no?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the enthusiasm the Conservatives have for this one issue, they can certainly continue to talk about the We Charity and spin conspiracy theories. We're going to stay focused on delivering for Canadians. And Mr. Speaker, the member from Carleton actually talked about the fact that he doesn't believe in big government programs. We know that from the Conservatives. However, the 8.8 million Canadians that received the CERB, the 3.5 million jobs that have been saved by the wage subsidy, these are the things we've been focused on, and I was very pleased to see the Conservatives unanimously endorse our plan to move forward last night and continue to support Canadians through this pandemic.
Honourable member for Lakeland.
Mr. Speaker, in April, Canadians were shocked at the rampage that ended 22 lives in Nova Scotia. 2 months ago, the public safety minister told victims' families their losses were only worth an internal review. After a week of outcry, he finally agreed to a public inquiry. Anne McClellan agreed to lead the review, but backed out of the public inquiry because she couldn't commit the time, proving the Liberals never intended to do a thorough job for victims' families who are still asking how and why. When will the Liberals announce a replacement so the inquiry can start?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the tragedy in Nova Scotia affected not just families in Nova Scotia, but those all across the country. And when I spoke to the families of the victims, they expressed to me a need to find out exactly what happened. And I assured them that all Canadians want to know. And that's why we put together a review to be able to find those answers quickly and thoroughly. The families expressed concern that they wanted a national public inquiry, so we agreed to move forward on that. We are ensuring that they have the tools to be able to find all the answers in terms of what happened, what lessons need to be learned from this, and how we can move forward. And I thank everyone involved for doing the right thing on this.
The honourable member for Lakeland.
Agreed. So the Prime Minister must answer my questions. It's been 5 months since people lost their loved ones. And 2 weeks ago, Nova Scotia's government said they have a replacement. But the Public Safety Minister's office said the process is ongoing. And the Prime Minister didn't just answer or give any details. Harry Bond, whose parents were victims, said, quote, "We're not... When we find something out, it's through the media. It's hurtful. You don't know what to believe." Mr. Speaker, families deserve answers. On what date will the road be filled? When will the terms of reference be set? And when will the inquiry start?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I had the sad privilege of speaking to many of those family members, and I heard their anguish and I heard their desire for answers, and that's why we set in motion measures that are going to find those answers in a way that gives them comfort. We are working extremely hard on being able to move forward as quickly as possible, but I think the families also indicated that it needs to be done in the right way, and we are ensuring that it will be done in the right way.
The honourable member for Saint-Hyacinthe-Bagotte. Mr. Speaker, in the speech from the throne, Ottawa says it wants to help industries that have been particularly hard hit by COVID, but not a word on aerospace. That oversight, by the way, is just Quebec's #1 export industry, 43,000 good jobs, $18 billion in sales, and the third largest aeronautics hub in the world. The Prime Minister is a Montreal MP, and the aerospace industry is at the heart of the Greater Montreal economy. Will Ottawa finally stop ignoring this leading-edge Quebec industry and come up with an aerospace policy? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the aerospace industry in Quebec and across Canada is an extremely important industry for jobs, for innovation, and for the future we're building here in Canada. We will always support that industry. A number of industries have been affected by COVID, and that's why we came up with things like the wage subsidy, the emergency benefit to help workers, to help those industries, and we continue to work with hard-hit industries to support them. We will always be there for the aerospace industry in Quebec and all across Canada. The Honourable Member. Mr. Speaker, we don't need talk or ad hoc disjointed interventions. We need targeted programs and a comprehensive policy. There's nothing new about the Prime Minister's neglect of this industry. Back in 2016, he said, what's good for a Montreal MP isn't necessarily good for an MP from Toronto or Calgary. That's funny. When Toronto needs help for the auto sector, they get it. And when Calgary needs help for the oil patch, they get it. Where's the Prime Minister when Montreal needs an aerospace policy? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, laughs from different parts of this room show how completely illogical that was. We have been there for all Canadians before, during, and after this crisis. We will continue to do whatever is necessary to create good jobs for Canada's long term, to protect the environment and support our natural resources. We will help manufacturing, including aerospace. We are going to be there to create a better future for all Canadians, Mr. Speaker.
Mississippi Churchill River.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier this week, it was reported that the government is no longer planning to meet their March 2021 target to eliminate long-term drinking advisories on First Nations. As you can imagine, this has left many nations across Canada, including Minnesota in my riding and Bearskin Lake First Nation in Northern Ontario, wondering whether indeed they are a priority for this government. My question for the Prime Minister is, if not 2021, when will these long-term drinking water advisories actually be lifted?
Good question.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, some of these long-term boil water advisories have been in place for decades, which is absolutely unacceptable. That's why we made the commitment to lift all long-term boil water advisories on reserve by the spring of 2021. We are working extremely hard to reach that deadline. We've already eliminated well over 80 of those long-term boil water advisories and are working very hard on the next ones. COVID challenges have brought a bit of a delay, but that is why we are further accelerating our efforts and working extremely hard, not to meet some deadline, but to make sure that all Canadians have access to safe drinking water.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson Caribou.
Mr. Speaker, today the Prime Minister has been patting himself on the back for what he believes has been a quick response to the pandemic. Clearly, the Liberals think where there's a will, there's a way. But as of today, we have 61 long-term drinking water advisories with 2 more added over the weekend. The government has tossed aside their promise to have projects completed by March 2021. Where is the Prime Minister's will? Canadians have been told to wash their hands frequently to fight this pandemic, so Indigenous families are asking, how are they supposed to do that without clean water?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I have to say, on Orange Shirt Day or any day, I am extremely pleased to see the level of engagement and interest in Indigenous issues that the Conservative Party is showing. It has been a long time coming. I can tell them that we have eliminated almost 90 long-term boil water advisories and are working very hard to eliminate the last ones. We will continue to redouble our efforts as we move forward, because we know that's something that all Canadians, not just Indigenous Canadians, expect.
Okay, I think we're ready to continue. The Honourable Member for Dauphin, Swan River, Neepawa.
Mr. Speaker, millions of rural Canadians do not have access to quality internet services. This means a lack of opportunity for personal and economic growth. However, 2 weeks ago, this Liberal government pulled a plug on a $55 million contract to bring internet services to Indigenous communities throughout Manitoba. The Liberals promised to connect Canadians 5 years ago. Can this government explain how cancelling a $55 million investment is connecting Indigenous communities?
Wow. Good question.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I will follow up on that specific investment that the member opposite is talking about, but I can tell you that we recognize that high-speed internet access is essential. As we confirmed in the throne speech, we will accelerate the connectivity timelines and ambitions of the Universal Broadband Fund that will ensure that all Canadians, no matter where they live, have access to high-speed internet. This is in addition to Canada's first comprehensive national strategy to connect all Canadians and the billions of dollars we've made available to achieve universal connectivity.
Member for Scarborough Agincourt.
Mr. Speaker, every year people of Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, and other Asian heritage gather with their families to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival. The festival marks the end of autumn harvest, and families use this time to enjoy the fruit of their labor, give thanks to the gods, and contemplate the full moon, believed to be a symbol of blessing and prosperity. Today, this 3,000-year-old tradition is celebrated all around the world and across our country. Can the Prime Minister tell this House how the Government of Canada is recognizing and celebrating Mid-Autumn Festival this year?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to begin by thanking the member for Scarborough Agincourt for her hard work and her tireless advocacy for her community. It's a time to thank and remember the sacrifices of our ancestors, parents, and grandparents. This year in particular at the Mid-Autumn Festival, as we see an increase in anti-Asian racism all across the country, we're reminded of the importance to speak out against discrimination in all its forms, to celebrate our differences, and mostly to stay united. We join many Asian communities in Canada and around the world to celebrate this Mid-Autumn Festival.
The Honourable Member for Calgary, Forest Lawn.
Mr. Speaker, it's been 6 months since the World Sikh Organization reached out to the Liberal ministers about a prejudiced beard policy against Sikh and Muslim RCMP officers. No other jurisdiction in Canada, including the Peel region, has implemented this ridiculous policy. It is wrong, and they know it. But the minister refuses to stand up for ethnic minorities, simply saying it's under review. Why does he continue to drag his feet? And what date will he end this blatant discrimination against these Canadian heroes?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, both the Minister of Public Safety and I have been very clear over the past days that this is absolutely unacceptable. We have asked the RCMP to review its policies to make sure that this example of systemic racism is put aside. We need to correct the faults within our system. We need to make sure that these extraordinary law enforcement officers who step up to protect their communities do so with full respect of their human rights. Mr. Speaker, we will see action taken.
The Honourable Member for Caribou, Prince George.
Canada has two national health crises, COVID and opioids. The opioid crisis impacts 1 in 3 Canadians, and Mr. Speaker, it has impacted my family. My brother-in-law passed away due to an overdose, and in recent weeks, one of my brothers has OD'd a number of times. He's alive today because of our frontline heroes, police, fire, ambulance, doctors, and nurses, who unbelievably at times have to purchase their own naloxone kits and personal protection gear. The throne speech could have given families hope, but instead offered nothing. This is a national health care crisis. Why is this Prime Minister missing in action?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, COVID-19 is compounding the ongoing public health crisis of opioid overdose and death in far too many communities, and I'm deeply sorry to hear about my colleagues' families' losses. Our hearts are with those who have lost a loved one. To help people with substance use disorder, we've made it easier to access medication like Suboxone and Methadone. We've made it easier to set up overdose prevention sites. We've supported community-based products through the Substance Use and Addictions Program. We will continue to rely on science. We will continue to listen to experts. We will continue to use harm reduction and safe consumption sites as a way to move forward in protecting vulnerable people and respecting public health advice.
The Honourable Member for Markham, Unionville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Illegal casinos, organized crime, shootings, murders, property theft, and robberies are all out of control across the GTA. We need more resources, not empty liberal promises that GTA residents are sick and tired of. The throne speech outlined hundreds of billions of new spending, but there was not a cent for the safety and security of people across the GTA. Mr. Speaker, why not?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to hear the concern of a GTA member from the Conservative caucus on gun control. That is why we have committed to stepping up on controlling the illegal importation and the use of military-style assault weapons in Canada. We've committed to working with provinces and territories and municipalities to further restrict handgun use, and I look forward to the support of that member of Parliament on moving forward to restrict handguns in the GTA and in other places across the country.
I want to remind the honourable members, some of them have wonderful voices that really resonate, but they don't realize how strong they really are. And this is a smaller changer. So I just want to remind them to maybe keep it down a bit.
The honourable member for Bourassa. Mr. Speaker, the government admits that a long history of racism, discrimination, and anti-black prejudice has had a major impact on this community. In order to get help, communities rely on informal support systems or community-based support they can count on, like family, friends, and other black business owners. This pandemic has laid bare and exacerbated the inequalities facing black business people every day. There's work to be done, and the throne speech acknowledged that. I'd like to congratulate my government for the initiative it has taken in announcing the new Black Entrepreneurship Program. Can the Prime Minister and the member for Papineau tell us how this program will help black entrepreneurs? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. First of all, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague from Bourassa for his outstanding work on behalf of his constituents and in fighting systemic racism. Our government has worked closely with black business circles in developing this program. This Black Entrepreneurship Program will provide a fund for loans to businesses, but it will also reinforce the ecosystem by working with black-run businesses, collecting disaggregated data on the experiences of black entrepreneurs and business owners in Canada in order to better guide policy development. Together with black-run businesses and organizations, we are recognizing that systemic racism affects business circles too, and that's why this program is important. The Honourable Member for Rosemont-la-Petite-Patrie. Before the pandemic, we were the only industrialized country without a national strategy for the aeronautics industry. Since, the entire industry has been in free fall. We're talking 240,000 jobs, most of them in Quebec. Layoffs are up, orders are down, and workers are concerned about their own and their family's future. Today, the machinists are sounding the alarm and calling for an emergency plan and a national strategy, which the NDP supports. The question is, for our aeronautics industry, is there anyone flying the plane? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this pandemic has hit a number of industries harder than others, like tourism, transport, including airlines and aeronautics. That's why we've been here to support workers first and foremost, and we will continue working with the industry to ensure that this jewel of our economy remains competitive internationally and continues to innovate and create good jobs for future generations of Quebecers and Canadians. We will keep on supporting the aeronautics industry all across Canada. That's all the time we have for today.
Nous avons un appel au règlement.
We have a point of order.
Okay. Tabling of documents. The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have the honour to table this document signed by Her Excellency the Governor General.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Oh, I'm sorry. Jumping ahead. Okay, very good. My apologies. We'll go back for one step. Her Excellency the Governor-General transmits to the House of Commons the main estimates of sums required to defray expenses of the federal public administration for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2021, and in accordance with Section 54 of the Constitution Act 1867, recommends those